Good morning.
Okay, in this chapter, we'll be talking about the meaning of scientific management, right? Meaning of scientific management, and then we'll be talking about its features, about the features, and features means it can be characteristic features are features of scientific management, right? We'll be talking about features of scientific management, and then we will be talking about the aims and objectives, aims and aim and objectives, aims and objectives of scientific management. Then we have principles. Then we have principles of scientific management. And then we talk about benefits. Okay, benefits of, that is, benefits means advantages, right? You can it can come in such a manner, advantages and disadvantages of scientific management. And then we have its criticism in the sense it can be disadvantage also, you can say that. So it can be in, if suppose it comes, the questions comes in other language, it will be criticism, right? And then we talk little about Henry Fayol. Then we talk about the Henry Fayol's theory. We talk about Henry, because Henry Fayol's theory is basically in your next chapter, which talk about, right? Next chapter also it has, and previous chapter also you have done much of Henry Fayol. So here you will be talking about Henry Fayol. Next chapter you have Elton Mayo. So classical theory basically consists of Henry Fayol. So Henry Fayol will be talking about, and then after talking about, after making a detailed study of Henry Fayol, we will be comparing, right? We'll be comparing both the theories. Theory of what? Fayol and theory of Fayol and Taylor, right? We'll be comparing the theory of that is why comparing theory of Taylor and this thing, right? So we have to take up a detailed study of Henry Fayol also, and then that is it. So this will be talking about, because Henry Fayol talks about, this is about classical theory. We have studied about approaches, and you have to understand one thing basically in all the chapters in public administration. You have to correlate the theory with its the thinker, are the one who propounded that theory basically. When I talk about classical theory or traditional theory, you talk about Henry Fayol. When I talk about scientific theory, you talk about Taylor. When I talk about human relation theory, you talk about Elton Mayo. Then there is a bureaucratic theory, you will talk about Max Weber. Do you understand? Then there is a decision making theory, you talk about Herbert Simon. As the lessons goes off, as the lesson go further, you have many theorists here, many thinkers, many psychologists, many you have to correlate their names with each other, otherwise all your theory may go wrong. Okay, all your theory may go wrong, so you have to understand this. So today I shall be talking about, I have sent you the PDF, I have sent you the notes. Still I will be sending you the notes from the register of the previous ones, so that if you find that simpler language, you can mix up both the language and see to it what you are supposed to write. Okay, so today let's see, in that half an hour I talk to you for about 5 to 10 minutes, I talk to you, and now for 20 to 25 minutes we'll be studying. All right, I'll take up what we can, we can do it. Let's see. I'll take up the meaning, and I think most of you have understood the meaning of it. Most of you have understood the meaning when I talk to you about classical approaches. When I talk to you about classical approaches, most of you know the meanings. Okay, so still there are 15 girls. I know that Bhumika and Suhana, again, I will not find their name there. No problem. If you are not interested, no problem. Okay. Children, you can take 2 minutes, open up the PDF I send you, read up the meaning of scientific management, and let me know what I had taught you in the previous chapter. I'll take a minute to upload the PDF. Okay. Did you go through the thing? Did you go through the meaning? Now, see,
Yes, ma'am.
good, beta. Good. Now, seriously, we will be studying just for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay. You have to understand this because everything is there in your, for your unit test. You have to understand. I told you, what did I tell you about your classical theory? Classical theory, when I talked to you, I told you classical theory is the traditional theory. So classical theory came into being when immediately the newly found industrialization had come over in England and elsewhere. So they came to know, oh, the organization is set in that manner. So there is one boss and the others are the workers. They were two people, the management and the workers. And naturally, then we have to work in a very traditional manner. This is the way, and the workers have to work, the management have to uh, make them work and earn lot of profit and give the workers their salary. So that is the way an organization works. That was the traditional thinking, and that was fine because for the first time it was all right. Later on, what happened, slowly and steadily, you will find of this man, this person called Frederick Winslow Taylor, right? He was a chief engineer. He was working in some factory there, and later on he started observing certain things that people are not having proper rules and regulations. So at times the things goes wrong, there is no proper setting, nothing of that sort. So he was little upset about it. He was upset about it because the work was a hit and trial in the industries. Whatever could be done, it was done. No deliberate attempt was made. So deliberate attempt, you all know, deliberate means conscious attempt, right? Deliberate attempt means conscious attempt. No conscious attempt was made, right? So like this conscious deliberate attempt was not made to improve the skill. It was not made. Whatever was going on is going on. So there was not much changes. The profit did not change as such, it did not increase. Okay, it was going on means going on. So there this person came who brought about a significant change, a significant change, and that person was F.W. Taylor, right? He was the one, and he is also called the father of scientific management. He's called the father of scientific management. He said that it should not be taken so lightly. It has to be taken, it should be taken like in a very scientific manner. There is a science behind progress and development. If certain rules are followed, if certain things are followed, then only you'll be able to, then only you'll be able to uh, I mean, let me see whether I have done the recording for you people. Okay. So then only you'll be able to, then a factory would be able to progress. Then an organization will be able to progress. Progress, you cannot just take it very lightly. You understand? You cannot take progress in a very easier terms. So we'll understand fast that who was this Taylor? Who was this Taylor? All right. So here it says that Frederick Winslow Taylor, no need to have that. Basically, this is for your knowledge. All right. It is your for your knowledge, and knowledge in the sense that from anywhere anything can come, because now you're doing your exam in Google Forms. All right. It is not a face-to-face exam. So the exams can be made tougher in any form, that how much you concentrate, how much had you listen when I was teaching, that is the thing. Okay, so he was born in 1856 in Philadelphia, USA. All right, he started as an apprentice as an amateur. He was in a machine making shop, he was working there 18 till in 1870, right? And later he became a chief engineer, and then he worked on the on many positions in the factory, and he observed the work, he progressed there, but he was very disgusted with the existing monotonous methods of working. Monotonous means boring, and when it arises, who's doing this? Don't touch the annotations, don't touch it, you are not needed there. So uh, it became so monotonous. Monotonous means what? Boring. When you're doing one same thing, same regular thing, day by day, you're doing same thing for years together, and it became so boring a process. As the machine keeps on working, human beings were also working in that manner. So it became a monotonous thing, and the production, whatever the profit was there, it was the same profit. Okay, and there was a lot of wastage, and people were not interested, they were not enthusiastic anything about it. So he got bored up with it, and he started thinking that no, there has to be something wrong somewhere. There is something wrong somewhere. So what did he do? He was the one who propounded the theory which he said as scientific theory. And what is this scientific theory, right? He replaced the traditional technique by scientific technique. You have to understand that line. Okay, he replaced the traditional technique by scientific technique, the art of knowing exactly what is to be done and the best way of doing it. That was the approach of scientific management. It is not that you have been given this task, okay, keep on doing. Okay, machine hai, I have to keep on working on this machine till my 5 o'clock, till my factory time ends. So I am doing it, whether I do it slow, whether I do it fast. Okay, that is the way. Every day morning I have to reach at 8 o'clock and I have to do this. That's it. So it was so monotonous, it was so boring, it was just one thing only kept on doing for years. So there was no formula in that. And the profit, okay, the company is earning profit or not, it's fine, I'm doing my job. So he changed the techniques of working, he changed the approach, the way we look at our organization, he changed that. So scientific management teaches the application of scientific investigation for solving problems of industrial management. Okay, so here you are going to take up some definitions from here. All right, this is basically your business studies book of 12th standard. You will get this a few, it is not the whole chapter, but this particular, because they are also studying as scientific management tailor in their 12th standard business study book. If you people can get it from your friend or something for some time, otherwise I'm sending you the PDF. So this basically this particular topic of Henry Fayol, and this one is there. You can refer your Lakshmikant, you can refer Avasti and Avasti, you can refer business studies of standard 12th, business studies of standard 12th. So you will get these pages there also. So these are few definitions, and whichever definitions you find suitable, you can learn this, at least 2 out of this 3. All right, we are concerned about what did Frederick Taylor say. So Frederick Taylor, according to Frederick Taylor, scientific management means knowing exactly what you want men to do and seeing that they do it in the best and the cheapest way. He says scientific management. What does the organizer, what does the manager, what does the high up, how do they organize their own organization, how do they organize their industry, how do they manage their factories. That means they have to have some, exactly, they have to know what they want from their workers, how they want the workers to do the job, right? And how they have to see to it that their minimum of waste, and that is the cheapest way, the minimum amount to be put in the factory, the expenditure should be low and the income should be high. So that is called as the scientific management. There, he said that there is a rule. Just don't do it that way. Don't do it. Classical thought theories felt that it is done. It is done in that manner. So, but scientific management say it is just not done. It is done with the rules and regulations. There is some particular rules to be taken care of. Some rules to be taken care of. Then we talk about the features of scientific management. What are the features of scientific management? Kindly, you have the thing with you, then you have to write it up. It is a systematic approach. All right, it's a systematic approach, means there is a system that the factory starts at this time. This is a particular, we need one chief engineer, we need a labor, we need a person who have the knowledge of this, we need a person who has a knowledge of this. It is not that okay, first come first serve, because I need 100 labor in my 100 people in my factory, so okay, please, you also come, I'll train you for 5 days or 10 days, and then you can work on that machine. It should not be like that. We need expert people. There is a systematic way. It has to be a systematic approach of production in a particular organization. So now what is it? Suppose in your school also you have a fixed time for everything. Now in your online classes also there is a fixed system. There is fixed system. A schedule has been created that which class will be done. There is no clashes, no chaos. If there is a clashes and chaos, that is solved out. So there has to be a system. It is just not like that okay, 2 classes of 12th, 2 of 11th, and 5 of this and 2 of this. No, everything has to be systematically done. So in the same thing, in the same way, he says that in scientific management is such an attitude towards the organization that everything has to be done in a very systematic manner. Is it clear? Systematic. There should be a systematic approach towards an organization. Why we are teaching you all this? Because we consider you to be a future administrator. We consider you to be future managers. We consider you to be a future decision makers. We consider you to be a future civil servants, a future managerial activities you're going to do. So when you do the managerial activity, it is not a hit and trial. It is a method of systematic approach. It is a method of systematic approach. And then the second thing we say that it is you have to change your mental attitude. Your mental attitude. So mental change. Scientific management brought a complete mental change for workers and employers with respect to their mutual relation and work efforts. Right? It was before, it was a boss and a worker. Now also it is like that. It is boss and worker. In classical theory also they said boss and worker. Human relation may it become little change. Here also, here he says it is boss. You have to respect the boss. He's the one who makes the rule. He's the one who supervise the works. He has certain responsibilities, and he takes over that responsibility in a scientific manner. And the workers, they are supposed to do this, and they have to follow that earnestly. So that is the relation between worker and employer and employees, right? There is a relation between employer and employees. So employer gives them the work, employees does it sincerely. So there is a time period for from 8 to 5 he's supposed to do this. He's supposed to produce this many things. He's has to finish up this the work given to them. This has to be the limit of it. They have to do this on time. So that is the mental attitude has to be changed of the worker, that you have to do it means you have to do it. You have to follow certain rules and regulations. That is the biggest thing you have to understand. You have to follow certain rules and regulations. As in scientific theory, it says, scientific manager says that, like classical theory, it is not the rule of thumb. Rule of thumb ka matlab kya hota hai? Uneducated people, they put a thumb and whatever is asked and they do it. No. So he says that no, scientific management is not rule of thumb. It is something concrete, written, some rules to be followed. Some rules to be followed very seriously if an organization has to earn profit. If an organization has to earn profit. Okay, beta? And the third one says that discard old methods of work. Discard old methods of work. It says that old method, that is, what are the old methods then, beta? The old methods are the classical method, the traditional methods. He said discard it. What do you mean by discard it? Shun that off, throw it off. They are not needed now, because old method and old working style they have to give up the old working style. Who said this? F.W. Taylor. His theory says that the old method has to be discarded. The old method of work has to be discarded. It should be replaced by this new method. And this new method says what? The approach of learning through trial and error was discarded. It says that it should not be like that. Okay, one day you will learn. So take, this is the new machine, work over this machine from 8 to 5, and slowly today you are not doing well. Within a month or so, you will be able to do well. Okay, if you are not able to do well within a month, okay, within 5 months, you'll learn up this machine. But it says no, no, you have to you have to adopt the modern technique. The person who is himself a chief engineer or who's done engineering, or the one who is expert on that machine, that particular work, he's expert in that particular work, appoint him and allow him to do work. A suitable person should adopt the improving production, and they should bring efficiency among the workers by giving the job to the person who is expert in that. Again, you have to understand, because the last part of your this would be the difference or comparison or dissimilarity between Taylor and Fayol's teaching, that is between classical theory and scientific management theory. So you have to understand here, children, that these are the things what he says here. Only I'm telling you all the differences here. When he told that, when Taylor was of the view that you have to discard the old classical method, where it is that you learning by learning through trial and error method. Trial and error method means you try, make mistake, and then learn by your mistake. He says no, it should not be. We don't have time for all this. You have to bring an expert of a particular field, a worker who's suitable for which work, given that word. It should be the workers should be, the people should be appointed through merit, through examination, through interviews, through tests, and then they should be appointed. It is just not an ordinary man and given a small training, and okay, you have been trained, now you take up, and maybe for some months you'll make mistake, and then you'll be able to. So where will the profit of an organization go? If you have to increase the profit, if you have to increase the progress of an organization, you have to have a particular person who is fully fully expert in that field. All right, then there should be best method of doing the work. Best method of doing the work should be adopted. All right, and then strict observation of rules. Rules should be followed strictly. There should not be an informal institution. There should not be an informal institution. There should be deliberation. Deliberation means deliberately, knowingly, they should apply the rules set for their organization, and they should strictly follow that rules and regulation. It should be in the interest of that organization. कोई भी organization, हम public sector की बात करते हैं, हम किसी भी organization की बात करते हैं, कोई भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन तभी वर्क करती है जब वहां के रूल्स और रेगुलेशंस को बहुत आसानी से कोई नहीं तोड़ता और उसको तोड़ने नहीं दिया जाता, उसको तोड़ने नहीं दिया जाता, स्ट्रिक्टली उसको ऑब्जर्व किया जाता है. सो व्हेन देयर इज अ स्ट्रिक्ट ऑब्जर्वेंस ऑफ द रूल्स, देन ओनली द प्रॉपर वर्किंग ऑफ एन institution, of an organization takes place. Okay, so now suppose, now normally we say the traffic people, if the traffic in Jammu and Kashmir is so good, no, we very rarely find the traffic police on the streets. Traffic police on the streets. Why? They're also sitting at home. So when there is, at times you come to know, okay, today everybody is standing on the streets, they are giving their duty properly. See how nicely the traffic moves on. How nicely the traffic moves on when there is a proper head and who's supervising the work properly. So the traffic police does the work properly. Otherwise, they know there is no high ups following me. So no problem. Every street has a traffic police, but they are not there. Very rarely they are being found there. So they say that there should not be any such kind of liberty in an organization there should not be such kind of liberty. Wherever the strict discipline is followed, it is obvious the state would progress, the organization would progress, the institution would progress. So Taylor was of the view that there should be a strict observation of the rule. Then there should be a proper selection and training of the worker. Again, as I told you, the recruitment method should be very strict, that there should be a proper person for a proper field. So there should be it should just not be that, okay, we need men for this and we'll give them training and they'll be fit for it. No. If a particular engineer is required, so he has to, a civil engineer works in the field, and if a mechanical engineer works for a mechanical organization, electrical engineer knows about his electrical abilities. So you have to appoint the people according to their capability and according to their ability. So they have to be uh, knowledgeable people with any, and their merit and the knowledge, the college, and they should have done any degree and such kind of it. And when they are given a short training, they become a suitable person for that job, right? And then weightage to specialization. He says scientific management is based on dividing work into small parts and assigning it to those who have specialization for it. It improves productivity and efficiency. You have understood, remember in your 10th standard history, I don't know who was teaching that history. They might have taught you about the first assembly, Ford car assembly, when this man came out with a thing that why a car is made, a car takes to be assembled in a month. One car, two car is assembled in the month. When he brought about this assembly in the sense that one side they are preparing tires, the other they are doing the gears, the third they are doing mirrors. So when this assembly was there, one part they used to do the part, they used to send the car further. The second assembly unit used to just work on the tires. The third assembly unit used to just work on its mirrors. The fourth assembly used to just work on their paints. In the such a manner, when the assembly, because then the workers were specialized in their working abilities. They were just given, they were assigned the task just to concentrate on that particular thing you are supposed to do. So this assembly, this kind of a thing came out that in 1 month they were able to bring about thousands of cars. That was the first time relay assembly was introduced by Ford cars. In 10th standard, you might have studied about it. So here this happened, that scientific management, he said that there should be given, weightage should be given for specialization. A person who is specialized in that particular field should be assigned that specialized job. It would certainly improve the productivity and efficiency. Is it clear to you? Productivity and efficiency. Am I clear? Am I clear here? So let's
Yes,
go.
ma'am.
Okay, good. So here you'll write the points, make an acronym and study that, and then let's see how you're able to learn it up. Second thing, it says main objectives, aims and objective. Today I'll just take up this aims and objective and then I'll wind up. So aim and objective. Now you have understood this. First he said what were the features, what should be adopted in scientific management, and adopted in scientific management. Then it says that what will be the result, what should be the aim of an objective of the scientific management, why the scientific management should be adopted, why these rules and regulations should be adopted, what will be the consequences, what will be the aim, why are we doing this, why we have to adopt, why we have to take up scientific management. The objective would be there would be increased production. The production would certainly increase if we use the latest technological methods. If latest technological methods are used, so these it would certainly lead to the increased production. All right. Secondly, it says better quality goods. Of course, when there is a specialization, when a special person is working on a special thing, when according to your capacity, your capability, your knowledge, your expertise, when the work is given to you. Now, if I am teaching public administration, if I am teaching political science, if somebody asked me to teach maths, if somebody asks me to teach a subject which I am not expert on, will be able to deliver the goods better to you? No. I will study at home because I'm a grown-up woman. I will study. Maybe I will ask people. I will take a crash course. I will study everything and I'll say, okay, I want to teach maths tomorrow. This work has been given to me. I have to do it. So maybe to certain extent, I'll be able to do it. But that will not be my expertise. Whereas in political science, in public administration, in English, I'm an expert. You can challenge me in anything and I can take the challenge because I know my capabilities. So in the same manner, I'll be in that, say, because of that, I'll be able to deliver my goods better. So in the same manner, he says, you will be able to get better quality of goods. Then cost reduction, cost reduction in the sense that the input, the expenditure would reduce because there will be less of wastage. There'll be less of wastage. So cost reduction will be there when an expert is handling that. So naturally there will be cost reduction. And in the same manner, when the cost reduction is there, there will be elimination of wastage. Why elimination of wastage? Because I am not learning by doing. I'm not making use of trial and error method. I'm not just practicing. चलो ये खराब हो गया इसको फेंक दो. Next time again I'll take up a next dough and then I'll try up this. अच्छा ये भी नहीं ठीक हुआ इसको फेंक दो. So at least I'll keep on trying and one day I'll become expert. I'm not doing that. In scientific method, you are not doing this. You are expert by itself. You are not doing by trial and error method. You are not doing by trial and error method, right? So you are an expert from the very beginning. So when you are an expert by the very beginning, so naturally the wastage would not be there. I'll immediately do my job well. And then right placement means because a person is trained, person is expert, person is has a degree and expertise in that field. So there will be a right man for right job. There'd be a right man for right job. So just we say, okay, want to have a magazine, we want to have a magazine. So magazine means what? Who made this magazine? I have to have a degree in mass communication, I have to have a degree in journalism. So I'm an expert in English does not mean that maybe I might be lacking somewhere, wherever I might not be able to produce that magazine, I will not be able to design that magazine so beautifully. So it is an expert person who will be able to do his job well. So again in the organization, when the person is rightly placed, there will be progress and there will be progress and there will be there will be a lot of profit there. So allowing incentive, they say the efficient person should be given high wages because the expert person, because when I have done a degree, the other person is without a degree. When I've done a BTech and come to that organization, so there is a person who just done a BSc. So BSc's the salary will be different from a BTech because I'm an expert in my field and the other BSc person is still taking a training and with a trial and error method he's doing that job. So he cannot be at par. So that thing has to be taken into consideration through scientific management. Scientific management says that each according to its work, each according to its expertise. So is expertise ke karan kya hota hai? The salary and the incentive is given and efficiency increases. So today what you're going to do, you're going to learn all this, and then at home as a homework you're going to learn about this principle. As I told you, that principle of scientific management says that it is science, not rule of thumb. All right, scientific, and it is harmony, not discord. Harmony means the worker and the management has to work together. The management gives the rules and regulation and the workers have to follow this. So they are not two separate units. They work in harmony. Then only you gain profit. Then only you get profit. And then you have to work in cooperation and not individual. Because again, I told you, when a production is done in a factory, they work in cooperation. They work in cooperation. They don't work individually. My work, if I'm slow, my work and my thing would hamper the other production of a particular organization. So we have to work in cooperation. We have to work in cooperation. And then he's given an example. So I've said this today. You will sit at home. This is the homework you will be doing. So development of workers keep on practicing because they are trained, they are efficient, they are experts. So now and then when you have training, you have adequate training is given on the job after few months, few years. So you keep on keeping yourself updated. You keep on keeping yourself updated. So tomorrow we'll be studying about the benefit of it. So whatever we have done, these three things, today you're going to revise it up. Okay, now any doubts, anything in this topic there? I talked about what is scientific management. I talked about who was F.W. Taylor. Then I talked about the meaning of scientific management. Then we came to the features of scientific management, right? Then I talked about its objective of scientific management, and then I talked about the principle of scientific management. So these three topics you have to go through it very minutely today and keep yourself updated, so that tomorrow when I teach you the advantage and disadvantage, that is benefit and criticism of this, you should be knowing about scientific management. Okay, so anything you want to ask now? Any doubt? Anything? Come on. It is clear? Good, good. So after the scientific management, we will go to Henry Fayol's comparison with this. We will first finish this tomorrow. All right. So whenever we have the next thing. So all the best to you. Study properly. Again, I'll be sending some questions in Google form just for your practice, because I want every day you keep on doing some questions, right? Keep on doing some questions, so that what happens, so that you are able to, so that